SCP-003. Item Number SCP-003. Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-003 is to be maintained at a constant temperature of no less than 34 Celsius, and ideally kept above 100 Celsius. No living multicellular organisms of Category 5 or higher complexity may be allowed to come into contact with SCP-003. In the event of total power failure, if SCP-003-1 begins to increase in mass, assigned personnel must engage in skin contact with SCP-003-1. Ideally, personnel may use their body heat to return SCP-003-1 above the critical temperature. However, skin contact must be maintained even in the event of SCP-003 reaching activation temperature, lasting at minimum until SCP-003-1 advances fully to the second growth stage. Personnel who enter SCP-003's containment area must first be examined for body parasites of Category 5 or higher complexity, and sterilized if such organisms are present. All personnel who come into physical contact with SCP-003-1 are to immediately report to sterilization afterwards. SCP-003-1 must not be removed from SCP-2 except in case of emergency procedures detailed above. Any significant change in SCP-003-2's rune activity, including pattern, frequency, or color, should be reported within 3 hours of occurrence. Cessation of rune activity must be reported immediately. SCP-003-1 must be supplied with power via source design generator 003-11 at all times. Description: SCP-003 consists of two related components of separate origin, referred to as SCP-003-1 and SCP-003-2. SCP-003-1 appears to be composed of chitin, hair, and nails of unknown biology similar to SCP-blank and SCP-blank, arranged in configuration similar to that of the computer motherboard. Testing revealed SCP-001 to predate earliest known circuit boards by a factor of thousands of years. SCP-003-1 is considered sentient but not actively dangerous except under certain conditions. SCP-001 was found on a stone tablet. SCP-002 is on which it currently resides. The runes on SCP-003-1 are not part of any known language and emit pale, flickering light patterns. SCP-003-1 is controlled by a non-biological internet computer, the contents of which are mostly inaccessible without risk of damaging SCP-003-1. SCP-003-2 is capable of controlling emissions of radiation, including heat, light, and anomalous radiation types. SCP-003-2 contains internal power source with an anomalous nature, which appears to have been losing power since several centuries before discovery. It is considered probable that NCP-003-2 was created for the purpose of containing SCP-003-1. Partially interpreted data recovered from SCP-003-2 may refer to past and/or potential failure LK class restructuring event caused by SCP-003-1. SCP was located by remote viewing team SRV-04 Beta. It appears possible that SRV-04 Beta was deliberately contacted by SCP-003-2. Other organizations have also been alerted to SCP-003's existence, possibly by similar means. Despite this activity, SCP-003-2 does not appear to be sentient, based on lack of reaction to M03 Gloria analysis and procedures. When SCP-003 drops to below temperature of 35 Celsius, both components react. First, SCP-003 enters a growth state characterized by exponential increase in mass. This growth state consists of two stages. In both stages, SCP-003-1 partially fuels its growth by converting matter around it, starting with any surrounding inorganic material, including atmospheric elements, then non-living organic material, including cells of dead skin, hair, chin, enamel, keratin, and other biological materials. The first stage is always the same. SCP-003-1 will first increase in mass, then take a form similar to the shape of an alphoid brittle star of 15 meters in diameter, including what appears to be a central processor of 3 meters in diameter. It will form sensory organs that appear to scan its surrounding environment and will partially convert the area around it to an unidentified anomalous substance. SCP-003-2 seems immune from this conversion. In its second stage, SCP-003-1 may pause, slow, or change its growth, and will also convert inorganic and non-living organic elements into functionality similar structures while anonymously altering their physical makeup. While growth is inconsistent in the first shape, in its second stage, SCP-003-1's growth rate is diminished by 20 to 90%, so long as SCP-003-1 remains in contact with living organic material. The percentage is determined by the complexity of the organisms in contact with SCP-003-1. SCP-003-1 appears to devote a large amount of processing power to analysis of living organic material. Each of SCP-003's growth shapes, SCP-003-2 releases bursts of radiation that temporarily inhibit SCP-003-1's growth, or reverse this growth when temperature of SCP-003-1 rises above 100 Celsius. Similar radiation emissions have been replaced or recorded via other anomalous means. Addendum 003-01. Acting on information gathered from linguistic analysis of SCP-003-1's runes and comparative data analysis, Research Team M01 Gloria has managed to establish a link between SCP-003 and data expunged for analysis of functions. SCP-003-1 must now be considered sentient and is to be kept a minimum of 1 kilometers from blank and the resulting byproduct at all times. Addendum 003-02. SCP-003-2's power loss has been excavated by the procedures performed by M03 Gloria on orders of 00510. M03 Gloria will continue procedure. Addendum 003-03. During M03 Gloria procedures, SCP-003-1 doubled its mass and began rapid structural growth. Temperatures immediately returned to 100 Celsius. Growth and mass increase of SCP-003-1 continued for 9 minutes and 6 seconds, at which time sustained radiation spike was produced by SCP-003-1 in response. SCP-003-1 returned to its normal state in 3 minutes and 49 seconds. A new growth dissolved in dusty residue which is now connected for analysis. Both SCP-003-1 and SCP-003-2 ceased all detectable activity. SCP-003-2 did not resume activity until connected to an external power source. SCP-003-2's rune glowed uniformly gray and did not resume normal activity for 3 hours. SCP-003-2 no longer appears to be able to maintain containment area at a temperature above 35 Celsius without external power supply by generators 003-3 marked through 11. Addendum 003-04. Procedure detailed in Addendum 003-3 was repeated. Then SCP-003-1 again entered a growth state. After 10 minutes and 13 seconds, SCP-003-2 once again produced a sustained radiation spike. SCP-003-1's growth stopped for 36 seconds and then resumed at its previous pace. On quintupling its mass, SCP-003-1 formed a coherent outer shell and body. After appearing to scan its environment, partially covering its environment, SCP-003-1 then breached containment, entering the observation gallery when 9 members of the M03 Glory were present. On physical contact with team members, SCP-003-1 incapacitated them in rapidly growth appendages and stopped growth for 15 minutes. SCP-003-1 then resumed growth and rearranged the component parts of the center of the form to shape the 3-meter-tall female humanoid, with spherical tentacles shifting to extrude primarily from SCP-003-1's newly formed hair and spine. The SCP-003-1 then produced rudimentary vocalizations in an apparent initial attempt to communicate with the researchers. An unknown individual approached the compromised containment area in company of full squad agents, then claimed to be acting on orders of 05-10 in attempted communication with SCP-003-1. Following the incident, Agent Jackson of M03 Glory successfully restored power to SCP-003-2 and activated generators to return temperatures to 100 Celsius. SCP-003-1 returned to normal state after 21 minutes and 7 seconds and was successfully recontained without incident. All 9 members of M03 Glory affected by SCP-003-1 were found to be physically unharmed, with no residual effects besides psychological trauma. The converted materials of SCP-003's former containment area did not dissolve and are now under analysis. Addendum 003-05. In light of previous incident, 05-10 was removed from the 05 Council by a joint inspection of 05-blank, 05-blank, and 05-blank. M03 Glory procedures have been indefinitely suspended.